What I've realized that customers and pharmacists have different views and different expectations about medical aid. So when I'm behind the counter and you are in front of the counter, we don't see medical aid claims the same way. Most of the customers think that if a condition is listed as chronic or PMB, there shouldn't be a co-payment or a levy. Unfortunately, that's not how medical aid works. You are more likely to have a co-payment or a levy on chronic or PMB medication and medication that are paid from your savings. There are a lot of rules that medical aid put when it comes to PMB payments. This is because PMB is compulsory to all medical aid, regardless of the plan you're on or the status of funds. This basically means PMB mostly get paid by medical aid than customers. So they will try by all means to limit the amount they are spending on you by putting a lot of rules. Let me use an example. So we will look at Discovery's PMB formulary as an example. So this is all I could find on the internet. I wanted to do other medical aid, but I couldn't find any other PMB formularies online with other medical aid. So I only found Discovery. So I will use Discovery as an example. This shouldn't apply in most medical aids though. So I'm going to use Discovery as an example for now. So we're still going to look at the same hypertension and see what Discovery covers for what medication does Discovery cover on hypertension. So let's get to it. So as you can see there, it says hypertension. And as I said above regarding the classes of medication that they use, that's where they will get you, especially when it comes to lower plans. You will really see how they are using this to pay less for you for your PMB. So as you see, there's different amount when it comes to this table. There's a condition, and then there is an amount that they cover for the lower plans, which is your core, your priority, and your saver plans. So they cover the same amount, and then they cover like a different higher amount when it comes to the higher plans, which is going to be your executive and comprehensive plans. And then there is the medicines class. As I said, they mostly use classes. That's where they will get you. They will get you with classes. So they use classes, medical aid class, and then the active ingredient that they are covering, and then the medicine and the name, and the medicine name and strength. So let's start with ACE inhibitors. Remember, I talked about ACE inhibitors above. So ACE inhibitors will be your enalapril. Common one is enalapril. You also have lisinopril, and the other common one is actually perindopril. And then there's also captopril. So those are your common ACE inhibitors. So as you can see here, they said on ACE inhibitors on lower planes, they cover only 65 rands. And then on higher planes, they cover 75 rands for ACE inhibitors. That is the total amount they cover. So that means you will have a lot of co-payments. So let's make an example. So let's start with enalapril. As you can see, they said on the lower planes, they are covering 65 rands on ACE inhibitors. So regardless of the strength of medication you're taking, they all cover 65 rands. So you must make sure that whatever you take is within that 65 rands. Otherwise, you are getting a co-payment. And remember, a co-payment won't be covered from your savings. You will have to pay it yourself. Even if you have savings, the co-payment will be, you will have to pay it yourself. In enalapril, they say they are covering enalapril area, Hypace, Nitra, Press, Tenazole, regardless of the strength. Whether it's 10, 20 milligrams, 5 milligrams, they will only cover 65 rands on the lower planes, and then 75 rands on the higher plane. So you must try and squeeze it there on that amount. And then lisinopril as well, which is your Zitomax, your Sinopren, and other brands, they will only pay 65 on the lower plane and 75 on the higher plane, regardless of the strength that you are taking. They will only cover those amounts. And then perindopril as well, which is your Perindra, your Peritor, they will cover 75 on the higher planes, 65 rands on the lower planes. So as you can see, you will be getting a lot of co-payments here. So what you can do to limit the co-payment is to take the cheapest generic as possible. As you can see, they also limit you when it comes to plans. So the lower plans like your Kike, they are not covering Perinda, or that's low. They are not covering Perinda. So if your doctor wants to initiate you on ACE inhibitors and you are using Kike, then the doctor rather uses start with enalapril. They will cover enalapril, but they won't cover Perinda or Perelitor or perindopril, whichever generic of perindopril they won't cover. Or they can initiate you on lisinopril, your Zetomax, or your Sinopren, whatever brand they want to initiate you on. But they will only cover 65 rands if you are in the lower plane. 65 rands, only 65 rands. So it is important that you have to stick to the cheapest generic possible. Otherwise, you're going to get a levy in these cases. So let's move to another class of drug and see how this is also going to work. Let me use another example. I don't want to use combinations for now. I just want to use a single ingredient. Let's move to plain angiotensin 2 antagonist. So as you can see here, they said they are covering 75 rands on lower planes and 110 rands on higher planes. So they're also specific. If you're on lower planes, they try to limit the benefit as possible so that you can upgrade to a higher plane and get more benefits, obviously. So on angiotensin 2 antagonist, the lower planes Kike, they are not paying irbesartan, but if you're going on higher planes, then they will pay irbesartan 110 and then Trobet 110. No matter what's the cost of the generic, they will only pay 110. And then losartan, which is your anin, your zartan, your ostel losartan, they only pay 110 as well. If you're on higher plane, lower plane, 75 rands. So you see here on this one, they are even more smart. If you're using you are on very low planes of discovery like your Kike, then they are not covering other generics within the losartan brand. So if you're taking let's say now the original losartan, then they might not cover that. The original losartan brand, which is Koza. Yeah, Koza, I think it's Koza. They won't cover Koza because it's too expensive or it's not on their list. So they will limit you, they will make it painful for you as much as possible so that you switch to the most expensive plan. So anin, they pay, losartan, they pay those two generic on lower planes, but on higher planes, they can cover all the generics as long as they are below 110 rands. If it's above 110 rands, then you will have to cover the difference. And then they also cover telmisartan on higher planes, and then other planes except Kike. Kike doesn't cover any telmisartan generic. So Telpres, what else? Takeda, yeah, all the generics, Telis and all those generics, they will only cover 110 on higher planes and 75 rands on lower planes. So usually at the moment, Telpres is the cheapest. If you take Telpres, you won't have a co-payment in the telmisartan range. Other generics are a bit expensive, so you're most likely to get co-payments. And then when it comes to valsartan, which is Niosa, that is also your Zomovec. So in those, they only cover as well 110. As you can see, In this group of drug, they say they will cover 110. It doesn't matter which one you're taking, they only cover 110 rands. So if your doctor initiates you on a very expensive drug or generic or any expensive class of drug, it doesn't matter whether they will only pay 110 rands. So as you can see, this is how they limit expenditure when you get into prescribed minimum benefits. Obviously, this is because the money is coming from them, not from your savings. The money comes from the medical aid. They have to pay these for these services.